Hey, welcome to another Cardboard Alchemy Live. I have Chris Strain with us. We have Rosie in the chat. We'll bring Rosie on in a minute. We are here on a Friday, or whenever you're watching this, to talk about everything board games. What are you playing and what are we making? Chris, what are we making?
Board games.
Okay. We're making board games around here. We have a special announcement today because, we're going to talk a little bit about an upcoming game that Chris is developing. I'm producing with Brad. Manny is designing. Sandara is doing art for it, illustrating it. So you can guess maybe what that one might be. If anyone's played Flamecraft, we're making another one. But we're going to talk about that. We're also going to have a fun. We thought we're trying to. We want to talk to Chris about also the Critter Kitchen, which is coming out. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Andromeda's Edge, which we can talk about. That's the background behind us. That's coming. We're gonna play that today, which is very exciting. We've got a first production copy that's making the rounds. And also we've come up with something fun with Rosie. We're gonna have like if you were to have an ideal game night and you had an appetizer, a main dish, and a dessert, sort of like our Critter Kitchen, there's courses, right? So what would your courses be for game night? And then we'll have Q&A at the end to chat with everybody. So think about what questions you have for us about anything that we're making or anything you want to talk about board games, design, development, production, and whatnot. So let's bring Rosie on for a second to say hello. Dragons in space.
Dragons in space.
How are you going today?
I'm good. I still sound very husky, but it's getting better.
It's because we just went to UK Games Expo.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, and I'm still...
Inevitably, though, conventions get you. You need more tea.
I know. I'm clearly not drinking enough tea. That's what it is.
Clearly. And so we've got Chris in from Texas to visit the studio, and we're going to be developing games. But, speaking of conventions, since we just had that convention, and this is sort of a mini convention for us, we just sent out the newsletter with name your favorite game convention to win a signed art print. So if you haven't seen that, you have to look in the comments or look on our Facebook group, or you got to subscribe to the newsletter because we always give away stuff.
You check the Facebook group for Flamecraft if you want to see all the information about. There's 2 giveaways, but you can find the second one in the post. So
yeah, Facebook's got the one for a Flamecraft art print, but then we also have a Critter Kitchen one, so you can win whatever kitchen color you want, signed by Sandara. Orange.
I actually have. I'm seeing responses coming in, and so far green is like 30%. I've got this pie chart, and I like that it's a pie chart. I really appreciate that the Google Forms did that for me. The annoying part is it didn't match the colors of the pie chart with the colors.
If only we could have, exactly.
It's like you don't need colors. I'm like, I would have liked that. So far, green's got a big chunk. I'd like to see pink get up there a bit more. So.
Oh, I love the pink kitchen.
Me too. My favorite's the red because there's so much movement in the food.
And Ellie says, "How dare purple not be in the lead?" I mean, the purple kitchen is themed to Cardboard Alchemy, which is really neat. So it was kind of a neat one. I love that one.
I know.
Anyway, all right, let's get into we want to talk a little bit about Flamebound. What is Flamebound? It is the standalone sequel to Flamecraft. If anyone here doesn't know about that one yet, it will be coming soon. I mean, when I say soon, what I mean is it'll be coming as soon as we're done developing it. Designing and art is all going on right now. We're sort of gearing up towards, more information. But it's been a while since we talked about it, and Chris is here and he's working on the dev with Manny. And so it's a chance to sort of talk about it. Now, I also had a part 1 where I showed the minis that we're making already, because we learned a little bit from our last couple projects. We learned how long minis take, so we're actually starting the minis process early, and I thought it'd be fun. This is a behind the scenes kind of a show to go behind the scenes and show what the minis are looking like as we start to make them. And so we'll cover that, but first, just to talk about what Flamebound is. It's a standalone sequel. The dragons are going on an adventure. They are going out to meet their elders. So they don't know exactly where they came from. They're going to be leaving town. So we're going to see stuff in there. Sandara's got an entire world to look at. There are cute, giant, fuzzy bees. There are
They're my
these.
favorite.
Yeah, there's critters in there. There's also ancient runes to discover. There's all sorts of different new ally dragons that are different types of dragons that you're going to find, including the elder dragons too. The dragons know about the fire elder. They've thought that there's might be this fire elder, but they're also going to meet a water elder, air and earth, and there's going to be all sorts of dragons to find. So it's a dice game. It's basically like everyone's going to have their own board, and you're going to be rolling dice to go onto sort of a path and decide what you want to do. You can focus on learning about the critters of the land. You can focus on getting new treasure and loot because, of course, dragons want to do that on an adventure. It is a competitive game, so it's just like Flamecraft in that sense. It's who gets the best score. And as you play each path, you can possibly unlock things for the next path. You can kind of get this connection between games and unlock different pieces for the next adventure. So a lot more. We're going to talk a lot more about it. I don't have a date that we're going to be talking about it, but I would say by the fall we should be showing a lot more. So we'll turn the Flamecraft Facebook group into the Flamebound. We'll just all things Artisan Dragons. And
we're already slipping when we say Flamebound or Flamecraft. We keep switching. We keep going like Flame, but nope. Flamecraft.
Yeah. It's been a long time making this, so it's difficult to keep it under the wraps and so, but now it's really coming along. And so let me talk about the minis. Let's show the minis and we'll talk about that for a second. So I'm going to bring this up over here full screen, and then I'm going to go back to something. Let's see, it will show. So what I showed last time was stage 1 of making a mini, and this is the Iron Dragon that's going on adventure, and they have series 2 minis introduce props, and so series 3 minis are definitely have props. They're going on an adventure. So Sandara draws what's called an ortho before we begin, and she does it in a T pose so that you get the basic structure. So Eric, when he's modeling, knows exactly like what the proportions of the leg is. He doesn't go right into the pose. The actual pose is more complex than the initial model. So first he focuses on getting it into just getting the geo right in the 3D. So what he does is he first starts modeling props. Obviously, our Iron Dragon has a cool wrench staff or something there, and also he's got a bag, and then also he's got sort of an early start, just basically doing that T pose we were just talking about. Starts there, trying to get the shapes, trying to get the muscles, trying to figure out where everything's going to be. And then Sandara at that point does some corrections. She'll say, okay, you're getting it there, but I want to see this rounder, and I want to see, don't forget to get that thicker, make that happen. So they work together. Sandara and Eric keep going, and they get these minis into place. And by the time they're done, there's this character that comes alive as a mini. And so in some of our next chapter, we're going to show you what happened when I went to China and saw this actually made. There's actually several stages of making a miniature as well. When it gets to the manufacturer, they don't just do one mold. They actually do about 6 molds. And they do it from these files. They also change the way that the files look. I'll see if I can find that image as well. Let's see. Do I have? Is it? Yeah. So what China does when they first get the model from Eric is they start to tell us exactly how many parts the model will be in, and so you can see on the bottom that they have said, okay, the head for the Iron Dragon is going to have to be its own shape, and that is because of the limitations or quirks or specifics of injection molding. They can't actually put the tail on. Most dragons actually, wings, tails, heads, all have to be unique pieces. Even though when we have small ones, the wings are so that some pieces have to be glued on. So this is sort of breaking it down for us so that we can see it. And the first time they showed us this, they also had made some changes to the wrench, which we said we didn't want. And so there's a back and forth as we make the minis. Now let me show you another one. So we go back to the bread dragon. This is Graham. The names are temp, but Manny's been giving them names already. So Graham is he was actually featured in the newsletter today because we're getting ready, and this croissant bag is really fun. He's sort of there's actually, when we show you all the art for the dragons, I think Sandara's I think she's kind of putting those into D&D classes a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I think the bread dragon might be the ranger. I'm not sure.
The one I always play.
Yeah. So again, Eric starts with a very basic. He's trying to do the T pose, trying to get the bread dragon shapes in there, and then basically just doing a simple, just getting that first before trying to actually pose the character or add the props. Also, he's modeling the croissant bag, which is a fun prop. I mean, now I want one of these things. Also the scroll that he's holding. And then just like before, Sandara comes in with, now this is like a little bit further along, and she's suggesting how the, things about the fingers, things about the mouth, and then also the base. All the bases have a different background as well. And then, these are the two characters that got modeled by Eric Tosco. And it's pretty exciting. So let me see what else I have here. This is the final.
What people do with painting those eventually.
Yeah, these are going to be, I'm going to bring this back with Rosie in there. These are going to be fun to paint. In fact, actually, let me show you something else, because I have, Rosie has already painted series 2. If you haven't seen that, let's see if we get that.
There were so many comments of people needing the croissant bag.
Oh, that's nice.
Tim also wants one, Tim Chuon. So I think that's a look that we need to complete.
So these are the series 2 minis that introduced props, and this is Rosie's set, and Rosie painted these. And we also have a lot of people on Facebook that paint and share their images. I don't paint. I actually am jealous of all of the pictures that are in there. There's some gorgeous stuff. And so I think you're right, Chris, when people get, the croissant bag, and they have all of these characters have these cool adventuring props, it's going to be fun to see.
I love the detail that is put into even just the bases. Just each one has its own individual little style to it, which is so cool.
In Flamebound as well, the bases are interesting. In fact, one of the challenges we had an issue with is we made the potion dragon with little mushrooms on the base, but injection molding can't have a thin stem below a fat bulb of the mushroom. So we're having to rethink how that's going to work. There's all these little nuances. So it's actually kind of amazing when you get the props in general. Someone's saying, there's a blue elder back there because there's VizDev stuff that Sandara is out today, and she's like, "What are you going to show?" And I said, "I don't know. What should we show? I'm going to show something right now to all the people who are tuned in and who tune in. It's going to be a very quick, brief look at the entire cast." I hope Sandara is okay with that later, because I didn't really clear that, and I'm just going to do it. She's so amazing at drawing, and she drew. Let me put these images back. I'll take this one off. Is everyone ready? This is the cast of characters.
I love them so much.
These are all the dragons you're going to get to play. And I particularly love that the fancy dragon has become a bard.
Yeah.
I am just like uber excited for this.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, here's your adventurers. This is a sneak peek. We'll definitely be talking about all these characters. We'll be showing you the minis and everything that we're working on and where they're going to go and all the creatures they're going to see. But this is the
Potion dragon looks like it's about to start something.
What?
The potion dragon looks like it's about to start something.
Yeah, the original. Mandy and I were first talking about the potion dragon. We were going to call it Molotov, and then we're like, maybe not do that. I think much softer name for the potion dragon now. But they are a fun group, right? I don't actually know which class each one of them is, but I think Sandara and Manny have worked it out. It's so much
And
fun.
the plant dragon has a little ladybird because they always have little things on them.
They've always got creatures that they're going. I love how the meat dragon is actually eating. Yeah. It's so much fun. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun with Flamebound, and I hope you all.
I'd love to hear what everybody's guesses to those classes are. Like we already said, Fancy looks like a bard, and what's everybody else look like?
Yeah.
It's both a weapon and rations.
Exactly. All right, so we're gonna go back to our main video here. Let's see. All right, we're back, everybody, and we'll put Rosie back on. I hope everyone enjoyed that. So we'll have a lot more coming. I just want to, occasionally get everyone in on the process, because the process is so much fun to make these games. Manny has been working on it for a while, has all these intricate stories we can't wait to share. Sandara's creating this world. It's going to be a lot of fun.
There's so many comments.
Yeah, thank you all for being excited for this this world. We're also just seeing it is so exciting. We hope to have we've got like tests coming, hopefully in the Discord too. So if you like to play games when they're sort of rough and they're like getting tested, and we're trying to figure out this, that, and that with the balance and everything. There's different in this game. There's a lot of different paths you can go. So you can focus on critters or treasures or runes or some different things you can do. And so we're testing all of those different systems. Chris keeps testing the what happens if I do all the wrong things in the game.
So far, I'm nailing it.
When I play, I'm playing the Flamecraft fan. Like I'm playing like.
Oh yeah, Rosie's trying to get into the head of like, what would I do?
What's the cutest thing I could do?
Yeah, what's the coziest thing in the game?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll have a lot more about that. Let's talk about some other topics. Well, let's talk about Critter Kitchen for a second, because we've just been working on it. It's been intense. I think a lot of times, we finished Critter Kitchen. We funded in November, right?
Right.
But November to when was the last time we worked on Critter Kitchen files?
Yeah.
Right? We're still doing things. And in fact, Andromeda's Edge is still a back and forth with translation teams and carton marks and freight and so forth. And Critter Kitchen is in one of those stages where we're ironing out game trays and deluxe insert sheets, and we're making merchandise, and there's actually merchandise already shipping, because some of the merchandise is going fast and some of the merchandise is going slow. And then the game has been turned in, and we're actually getting the first digital sample while Chris is here. So that's going to be really exciting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There we go. Behind the scenes. Surprise to everyone. I talk to China like every night. We go back and forth, and they're like, we think we can get you a sample, which is going to show what the metal coins look like, which is going to show what the dice look like. It's going to show all the wood tokens, all the paper. It's like basically the real thing. And this is our chance to say, oh, there's a little something with that piece and that thing, which we can still modify for the mass production. And Andromeda's Edge has already been to the mass production. So Andromeda's Edge is, we've got the final copy before it was produced thousands and thousands of times. And it's actually due to like finish the production this month, which means then a boat. Then it will be here, which is exciting.
And we can track it in that fun little tracking boat system.
So given the fact that we worked on Critter Kitchen Dev was before we launched, Dev was after we launched, Dev just basically finished. So Chris, what do you think the difference is? I mean, like, I don't know. How do you feel? Like we've just spent half the year on Dev. You're sort of starting fresh. Well, there's Flamebound is in a much earlier spot for Dev.
Right. I mean, it's a different, Dev at the beginning is very, oh, let's try this. No, let's try this. You
can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just all this massive brainstorming. You never stop well, let's try this. Any idea that pops up, you're just like, yeah, let's try it. There's no reason not to at this point. And that's for most part, that's my favorite part of dev, right? The early part where you get to form all the foundation of stuff, and that's really fun. But and then later on you get into the details, which is where we've been with Critter Kitchen for quite some time.
Yeah.
And it's looking at every pixel almost, it feels like, right? And then, a week later, you're like, oh, I totally
Well, it gets down to the millimeter.
Yeah.
I mean, like, as far as Noah is concerned, it's down to the millimeter. It's like, can I have any more millimeters for the box? No, you have to, this is the millimeters. But also we got like a bag sample, like for the deluxe game, and we crammed a bunch of tokens in it. And then that's like a big bag. It's just like, no, it was like, oh my God. So we have to like talk about exact, to budget the space and everything.
Yeah.
So it was definitely constraining. There's also something about dev that I feel is a little constraining towards the end, which is that the cards tend to go to the printer first, and the terminology on the cards locks in what the rules have to say. Like if you say a term on a card, then that's the term we're using, hopefully we're not putting two different terms. But in the beginning, of course, we had the ability to create any critter, any character. And then towards the end, it's what fits with what we're making, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's the fun part of the job is that it's always different. Like every game's a different challenge. There's usually player count challenges or time constraint challenges, or how to get, as Brad has often said when we first launched the company, fun density, which is the most amount of fun in a short amount of time, so it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Fun density.
Fun density. You haven't heard that one? Oh, fun density is Brad and I were playing a game of King of Tokyo, and we were playing over and over and over King of Tokyo. And then after about like a couple games of it, we went to go play some Cthulhu Elder Gods thing. It's a massive game, right? I don't remember exactly what it was. But it was a big game, and it took 3 hours or whatever it took, and it was exhausting, and there was a lot of choices. There was a lot of rulebook consulting, and by the time we were done with that, we were like, well, that was fun. But if you look at the fun density of what King of Tokyo provided, we played about 5 of those games and just got a lot of enjoyment for the time spent. That's when that term came up. And Brad wrote a blog about it. And I think it's one of our principles here, which is that to have a game, I think Andromeda's Edge takes a long time. It's not about taking a short time. It's about making sure that every moment of that game is delivering on. It's like if you're in a movie, why make the movie 3 hours if it could be 2? But some movies do need to be 3 hours. They do need to tell that whole story and get the arcs in there. If you walk out of a 3-hour movie and you think, wow, they could have cut that down, I didn't need that much, then the density was the wrong ratio.
My dad has a term when he writes speeches, because I was a real dork and entered speech competitions as a teen. And it was cutting the fat, not the meat. So he was like taking any excess out that you don't really need, but also you don't want to be taking out the good bits. It's obviously not a very vegan term.
So that's actually a lot of the dev process too, because when Chris is talking about how the beginning of Flamebound can have a lot of options, it's also part of it that I think the designer is going to come with more of the options, more choices, and then we have to be the ones that crack down and be like, all right, so we're gonna like we have to stop here. we can't keep going forever. Although with the Kickstarters and crowdfunding campaigns that we run, we generally jam like about 3 games worth into each game. So we maybe have a lot of fat on the.
It's more about where to put the fat.
Sure.
It's not like all of the stuff all at once. It's like, here's a great game, and then here's some other stuff to add to it.
There's a lot of gravy. We put a lot of gravy.
We like condiments.
It's just like pour the gravy on.
There's lots of condiments in.
Yeah, there's a buffet mini bar of condiments every game.
I'm glad I ate before this.
Oh wow, Brad's like, explain strategy viscosity. I'll tell you what we're gonna do next. We are gonna now do since we're getting into food, we're gonna do this fun thing where we're gonna, Critter Kitchen was all about food and creating 7-course meals for a critic. And so we were thinking it would be fun, and the audience can play along with this, we're gonna come up with our 3 games that fit an appetizer game for game night. You're having a game night. You're gonna host people over, and you want your appetizer game. You want your main course. You're gonna tell everybody this is what we're gonna play, and then you want a dessert course. Now, the reason why I chose those and not salad and soup and whatnot is I think it's easiest to understand appetizer, the early part of a game night, the meat of a game night, which can range in like, you can have a lot of different styles of main courses, and then dessert for those people that hang around even later and don't want to go home and want to play something else at the end, right? I think those are the 3 stages.
And once everyone's heard them, I want you to choose whose house you're going to.
Oh. Wow.
Now you're both going to say like Andromeda's Edge and Flamecraft, and I'm going to be like, thanks, guys.
Also, if you come up with your own, and you can either put them here on this chat or you can mention them in Discord. We'll chat there, and Brett, and we'll find out what everyone thinks about their ideal game night. So let's start with the. Do we want to do each person their whole thing?
I think so, because you want to see how it connects.
Yeah, you want to see how it connects. So I'm gonna say Chris is going first.
All right.
Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. Putting you on the spot, just like your co-host on the Full 42 does all the time.
Once I've heard both of yours, I'll just quickly come to the show.
Yeah. Adjust yours. Yeah. All right, so we're going to Chris's house for game night.
All right. So for my appetizer, I decided, for the whole thing, actually, I thought the theme would be fun to do adventure, sort of like Flamebound is about adventure.
We're doing an adventure game night.
And specifically in Flamebound, I like the runes, like what that invokes in my head. So I thought kind of like archaeology kind of thing. So for my appetizer, I would pick the card game of Lost Cities.
Oh.
Reiner Knizia. Now there's a board game version too, which the card game only plays 2 players. So
only 2 people coming to your game night.
Get a couple of them.
Oh, you have many copies. Yeah, it's unlimited copies. Okay,
I got it. I haven't played the board game. I've been told that some people like it more, and for other, but you can play up to 4-player with that one. But mine is the 2-player one.
Very nice.
It's pretty quick. I'd say maybe a 20-minute game.
Yeah,
probably because you do 3 rounds. You don't have to do 3 rounds, but generally you do. I don't know. Are we explaining the game or just go look it up yourself?
I mean, you can explain like a little bit about why that would be.
I mean, thematically, you're exploring stuff kind of like archaeologists or something.
Yeah.
Mechanically, you're putting down cards. So you're not reading story or anything.
Does it get you in the? Well, I mean, it's an appetizer because it gets you in the mood for just like.
It's mostly just looking at the art. You're like, okay, that's really cool. Looking at runes or underwater scenes.
I should have picked all art for mine. Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah. Appetizer of art.
So that's the appetizer. You kind of get a little bit into it. And then for the entree, talk about the art and stuff. We moved to the Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Oh, that's a good main course.
Yeah, so this one's a good chunky game.
I kind of want to go to Chris's house now already.
It's only going to be 2 people, so you're pretty much the only one.
Right.
Well, Chris is on a date night.
Yeah, we'll come in at different times. While we're playing our entree, people can start their appetizer. Yeah. So yeah, it's a great worker placement game. It's got, amazing art that I hope that they do other games with to explore that same art in other ways. It's
really good,
because the world looks so awesome. But you're exploring ruins, you're writing journals, things like that. You're archaeologist kind of stuff.
What's your strategy in that game, by the way? Do you kind of go up the track and do the big research track, or are you trying to explore?
I usually go like 60% research, 40% explore.
Okay.
And I don't usually win. So maybe it's the other way that I should be doing that.
So good chance of winning at Chris's game night. Also, do you play? Have you played with the expansion or not yet?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and it has 2 or 3 expansions now.
Oh wow, I'm behind on Arnak. Oh crap.
Yeah, I think it's got 3, and I have the one with the leaders where you have people.
Yeah, I have special the powers. Yeah.
And that's really fun. It's not required, but it's fun. It's not it's a great addition to it, and I'll play with it pretty much every time.
Yeah.
And then for my dessert, it's a 15-minute game.
Okay. All right.
Plays up to 4 players.
Cool.
And I have it right here, actually.
Wow.
I brought
this
it.
This is extra credit right now.
I have all my games here. I just had one delivered.
Look at this.
It's called Far Away.
Far Away is so good.
I've never played this one.
Well,
now
so you should.
Oh, no, I'm excited now.
That's how you would end your night, with that brain burn of a puzzle. People are tired. They're about to go home, and you're going to kill them.
Yes.
You can't leave Chris's game night.
You want them going home going, oh, that was so good. I shouldn't have had that dessert, but they're happy that they did. That's what
that is cruel. That is cruel.
Yes. So
it's such a good game, though.
It's a relatively simple game because all you do is put down a card and then take a card. But
I can't wait.
When you do, the best part about it is you only play 8 cards in the game.
Okay.
You have 3 cards in your hand. You play a card, pick up another card. Depending on what number you put down is the order of players of who gets the grab first from the middle. And that's very important. And then as you build,
I like this. At least he's not ending with risk. As you build,
As you build up, once you finish the game, you start scoring backwards. So you flip all your cards over, and you only score the last card with what's revealed. And then the next one flips over, and it gets to score that one and the other one. So it's this puzzle that you have to work out backwards in a way.
It's really good. The theme is that you're going on a journey.
Yeah.
Very well
doing favors for people, and then you go back the other way and dropping off the favors.
Who published that one?
It's
Pandasaurus.
Yep.
And the designer, do we know that?
Although I don't think they did it. I think they brought it to the U.S. because when I played it the first time, when I played it the first time, it wasn't U.S.
Yeah, because in the UK, it's the Cardboard Games UK who are distributing it.
Or BlackRock Games.
Well, that sounds exciting. I love the fact that you tied your whole thing together, which I should have done and totally didn't do. Mine's a loose, haphazard meals.
I was a little bit inspired because last night we were playing games and you put on a soundtrack, which I always forget to do. But with this, you could have a whole Indiana Jones, Mummy soundtrack, all that.
That's good stuff.
So,
yeah. I've done game nights where I had Betrayal at House on the Hill, and I have a whole haunted. I do a lot of that stuff where I coordinate it. But for my picks, I am uncoordinated this time. So, Rosie, do you want to go, or do you want me to go next?
I can go. Do you want to leave your apparent catastrophe till last? We can.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Mission Catastrophe would be good. No, I didn't put that one in there.
So mine are all critter based. That's
critter. All right, cool.
My meal. I'm starting with Similo, Wild Animals.
Ooh, so I don't know that one either.
Similo, we were talking about code names in the comments, but Similo for me is kind of replaced code names because it's like cooperative, trying to guess what the one animal is, like a grid of 9 cards. You give clues to be like, it's similar to this one, and they try to take them out until eventually there's like one decision left. We've also got the Lord of the Rings one as well, which is amazing. And then if you get different ones, you could give clues with animals for a Lord of the Rings grid, or the other way around, which is really hard because they're all just little white men. But it's very funny. So yeah, there's an animal one, so that seemed rather fitting. And it's like a 10-minute game. And some people think, I always find when people are, if it's new gamers, they're not really sure if they want to get involved or not. And this is quite a good one because it's co-op. They don't really have to, or they can. You also learn who's the really engaged people and who aren't. So it kind of helps with that as well.
I have the Greek gods one, or the Greek myths one. That's a fun one too.
Yeah, it's really and the art's just like these, big art cards. They're very simple. It's just, and you're using them like clues. Will be like, it's similar to this, and you're like, well, has it got big eyes? Has it got a lot of gray? Maybe you look at the background and think, all the names. I think it's really interesting to give, kind of like Dixit or something.
Dixit.
Like that.
I was gonna say, let's get the Dixit or.
Yeah, I love it because it's
I love that. By the way,
is great, but everyone has code names. Like it's
So
yeah.
That's
my main.
Other people are throwing some in too. By the way,
I know I'm saving loads of them to show.
Okay, good, because there's Flamecraft as a main course. But let's hear what Rosie's main course is, which she might have picked Flamecraft before. Big buy.
Hickory Dickory.
Oh, I haven't played that one.
Yeah, I haven't either.
So this one's got a big clock in it. A big clock in it. That sounded wrong.
Wow. The show just goes.
Lowering the tone. And you actually, your little meeple, you've got different meeples that are different mice. and they go on the hands, and they can jump off to perform actions around the outside. And they're trying to collect up little tiles that you can fit onto a little grid, and you'll score points based on matching ones and things. But it's based on the nursery rhyme, and it's quite a big clock. It is a big clock, yes, but it's really cute, and I like the way that when you get on here, you could be bumped off, and there's a Lord Cuckoo has his goals as well. So yeah, it's really cute, and there's a cat that paws at the clock and covers up certain actions.
Yeah,
so yeah, it's actually like quite a long game for what the theme is, but it's got like this bits going on. It's very, very thematic.
Like cozied up Zolkin, you know how like workers and they come off and
But it's got critters.
This is a great comment too. Can we start a game night circuit? I want to go to all these game nights. I like that idea. We need to hop around. We have another one from Mark Spirit Island as a main course. It's very different so far than the other ones, but that's a cool game to put as a main course. All right, so what do we, Rosie, at your game night, what are we ending with? What are we capping the night off with?
This is the new Oink game, Moving Wild.
Oh, James really wanted that one at UKG, but we couldn't find it.
I did go there first. I was very aware because what's really fun about this is so it's designed by Chris Prescott, who is Unfringed Games, and he made a game called Zuli, which I've played. It's got Sushi Go like elements, but you're building habitats for your critters, your animals. And Oink Games picked it up and turned it into an Oink game and re-skinned it, but it's the same game. So I think, Oink Games always go down quite well. Especially they're quite good for like talking over some of them. So I think this one's quite good for playing and chatting and ending the night. So but yeah.
That's exciting. I want to try that one. I definitely want to get that one.
Yeah. So we're just eating a whole course of animals, basically.
So your critter kitchen, your critter game night, we could throw critter kitchen in the middle there.
It depends how long the evening is, but I think
eventually.
Obviously, I could have brought up Critter Kitchen, but it's the
prototype. I know that would fit, but that's fine. It's fine not to be too biased, Jim. Now I love these themed game nights. I wish I had a theme for mine.
We'll find one in there somewhere.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's. I'm also going to cheat and throw in like multiple ones, but I would tell you why. When I have an appetizer, what I'm trying to do. When I have an appetizer, I usually have a game night where there's, 6 to 10 people coming, and there's going to be multiple tables, and they arrive at different times, which is annoying. If everyone's ever done this, it's annoying when nobody shows up at the times they say, and it's loose. And so one of the things I like to do is have a game that plays a bunch of people, so that if we're warming up and people are still walking in the door, it's not too long. We can exit out of that game at any time. So the two contenders I want to mention is Point Salad, which I feel like is a very easy, let someone in, play a game, another person comes in, another person goes to get snacks. It's a very good starter. I also really like We're Doomed, because it's 15 minutes and it plays up to 10. I actually helped develop that game for Breaking Games, so I'm a little biased, but I think it really solves it is 15 minutes. That is the timer. It's a giant timer, and you flip it over. It's 15 minutes. That's it. If everybody gets on one person get on the ship, or nobody can get on the ship, or 5 people can get on the ship. And meanwhile, you are having all these crazy hijinks because the deck is full of unique cards, and you only play like a small portion of the deck each game. It's awesome.
You should be prepared to play that twice, though, because I've noticed
there is
anybody that comes and walks up and watches it for a minute, they go, "Oh, I want to play this," and they make you play it again.
So I think like if you're having multiple games going, my goal is like a quick 15 to 20 minute experience. I think those both deliver. They have a lot of players, so you don't have to feel bad. The worst thing to do is to play like an hour-long appetizer for 4 people, and the 5th comes in. It's just like, I'm so sorry, but if you could just make yourself a drink for an hour, then we'll be done. Like that sucks. And so I'm trying to come up with ones where people can hop in and out. I also thought about King of Tokyo for this, because it's another good appetizer a little bit. You just like punch and fight and all that stuff. Fun density, right? So that's the thing. For the main course, what I like to see and I'm not going to list games. I mean, I would say Andromeda's Edge. I would say Dwellings of Eldervale, but I can't do those. But I like to see a game. What I want to see on the table for main course is options. When I sit down, I want to imagine that I'm going to do so many cool things. I'm going to have so much happen. There is going to be like, I want to play Arc Nova for a main course. I want something that's like, I'm going to make the best zoo, or I'm going to build this city, or I'm going to do this thing. So I usually like engine building, worker placement. I want a main course that at the start of the game, options are unlimited. Then by the end of the game, I'm destroyed and I wish I had played better, but I still had fun. So I like main courses that are just 2-hour, 3-hour games. Arc Nova is not one of my favorite games. I do like it a lot. Yeah, you like that one?
Yeah, it's in my top 10.
Easy to have, but like that's the spirit of what I'm talking about. Like, someone could put down, Andromeda's Edge would be an absolutely fantastic game night because I know what we're going to play this massive thing. And I also like the main course to be competitive. I like it to be, I want it to be a smack talk fest, and I want to have this fun, like who can do the best. And then what I kind of like for the final thing is either something cooperative, something like Codenames to Take You Out, or something like what I was thinking this time was Between Two Cities is kind of my light come down from that mass, because it's still so competitive, that one. But you have 7 people who are just building a city with their neighbor, which allows it to kind of be more, hey, you're working with someone. I do like the last one to be, let's chill out a little bit from the massive competitive big one. And I want the last one to be just about an hour or something, so that the people who want to stay for that one more. I mean, you can go shorter. You could cap it off. I think the ones that you guys were mentioning were just like shorter, but I like to go long game nights. So I'm thinking maybe just an hour one.
When you say game night, you mean game day, right?
Well, no, I'm thinking game night. But by the way, here's what I was going to put for my dessert is City of Big Shoulders, which is ridiculous because you'll be playing till dawn. For the people who really like game night, as soon as you're done with Andromeda's Edge, it's midnight. Get some ice cream and some coffee or whatever, and then put down City of Big Shoulders, and then have breakfast at 6 a.m. Yeah, right? You just keep going.
So here's your options. You've got a one-on-one date night with Chris, because it's a 2-player game for a starter. You've got Peter's 12-game meal, it sounds like, which will go on from 6 o'clock in the evening until 6 o'clock the next day in the evening. Right. Or my casual 4-hour normal evening, and you go to bed on time.
Yeah, I like it. We created 3 different options for you, and there was a lot of fun ones in the comments.
Yes, loads of fun. Get your notes in now.
Let
me pull some of these up. We got Dragon Games, Appetizer, Tea-Dragon Society, Main Course, Flamecraft, Dessert, Red Dragon Inn.
Red Dragon Inn is a good dessert.
Yeah, that's a dessert. Perfect dessert. That's a fantastic ender right there.
The food theme, we've got Point Salad, Main Course, Critter Kitchen, Dessert, Letter Jam.
Letter Jam's fun,
yeah. I haven't played that one. I've always wanted to, though.
Camping Season, Appetizer, River Mild or Wild. Is that the Buttonshy one? Or is it a different one? Main Course, Trailblazer, John Muir Trail, or Parks, and Dessert Trailblazers. Oh, is that 2 different games? Trailblazer, John. I don't know that one.
I don't know that one either.
But I do know Trailblazers.
Parks is good.
This particular one will fit really well with Flamebound when we get, because of the whole journey thing. Yeah. So that's good.
And starter Dixit Odyssey, icebreaker for people to get to know each other. Main course Apiary, great game. Love this, just a great game. Dessert Zuli, nice fun game with cute animals. Theme No Downtime, interesting.
Hey, No Downtime theme. Yeah, I like it. That is a good game night. No Downtime.
Yeah.
We just played Apiary last night as our main course, actually. Yeah, it was fun. Good. It's a good, like I said, about having that potential of, I don't know, all the things I'm going to get to do.
If you want no downtime, Earth, won't even look at your phone. No time.
Earth,
not a moment to even look at anything.
I almost did. Really good.
Appetizer, Q-Birds meal, Catan, Starfarers, dessert, Dolce. Very cool.
I like Dolce a lot, actually. That's a really good one.
I've been wanting to play that one.
It's a good engine building game, and it's super cute art, and it's a lot of fun.
We've got some sort of individual ones here. Appetizer Taboo. Get your hands and minds.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's some. I didn't put party games, but I think this definitely appetizer, right? You just like wavelength.
I would have put Monica's as the dessert if it had critters in it.
Yeah.
But you know,
zombie dice. Get going, rolling some dice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I also like when you use the appetizer to deliberately ice break and get to know people's names. Or like, because if you have a party and you don't know everyone's name, then you play something where you're going to mix it up and learn that. Then when you're playing your main course, like Ticket to Ride or something, you're like, hey, I know you now. I kind of understand who you are.
You know, Rosie, when you said that Similio replace Codename, or not replace, but you picked that one. Yeah. It made me, I also agree, because you don't spend, when you play Codenames, sometimes you're in agony about the clue you have to give, and you don't get that with.
Also, I played Codenames with Doug's parents, and Doug's mum, love her, just decided not to even look at what her spies were or anything, and just find 3 that would work for her name, and went, Diana. It was like, what? Okay. And then everyone played it, and she was like, oh, I don't know, I just made it up. Like, it's just like, people could play it wrong. Whereas similar, you literally can't. Like, you just gave a clue, and then it's, so.
Yeah.
But there's pictures Codenames is a little bit easier, I think, sometimes. But
I like that one better,
Yeah.
Well,
Just One. Got a mention of Just One.
Just One's a great.
Just One is great.
Appetizer or dessert?
I could go either way, actually. Yeah.
Did that win Spill DR? Am I going doolally?
No. It was nominated. I don't know if it won.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ticket to Ride's listed as a main course. Twilight Imperium's listed as thank God that wasn't listed as an appetizer.
It really depends on your friends and the amount of time you have spare.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of interesting ways to go with the appetizer, right? You could definitely get I also like Furnace for an appetizer, because it's just a light, quick engine building kind of thing. But you can do party games as well for appetizer, and just like get everyone in the mood for.
Yeah, Concept is really good.
Concept,
I'm good. So bad at that. I know people who are really good, and I'm just like, red cube on man. I don't know.
I love it. I think it ought to be used for like teaching people how to teach things, because you have to start grouping the way you think. Right, and how to communicate to people. It's very interesting.
Clearly I don't learn in any way if I can't. People just tried every different way. Come on, Rosie, you can get it. It's just Iron Man. Come on. Like
Ooh, look at this. I like tapas as well. So lots of little games. That's a lot of fun. That'd be neat.
I like the idea of doing like a tournament of just like mini games over the course of the day.
That's a game night idea where everyone's gotta just compare scores at the end about like how you do in each of the. It's like you're having a competition.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, I had one where I did like it was Bang, it's the card game version, and then we played many games and we had scores, and it was the designer had an idea of how to host a tournament of Bang, so I did that, and it was fun to compare later. Basically, I used poker chips, and the most poker chips at the end took it down, and I had prizes. It was fun.
Nice.
I would have a fun time with like a mini tournament like that, where you're trying to. It's like the World Series of Poker. I don't know, not a World Series of board games. I don't know if anyone's ever been, but they've been doing that now for like 2 years. I think it might be on its 3rd year. I'm tempted to go, and the concept of that is that you go in and you play. They always announce the games ahead of time. So like the first year had a choir. I was like, oh my God, a choir. I kind of want to enter the choir.
I would do that.
Right? Literally, they had a choir, and I'm like, why was there a choir?
So they had like Terraforming Mars was one of the ones. And so you pick the game you want to enter with, the qualifier. If you take that down, then you get into the semis and you play another game that wasn't the one you picked. And then in the finals, you have no idea what's going to be thrown at you. Very interesting format.
Wasn't there a documentary about it?
I don't know if they did that. I know that the second year they brought the Dice Tower in for commentary, so they had it was really funny because Paula Deming was sitting there trying to I don't know about that move right there. Like they were doing this commentary on the whole thing with the Dice Tower and a couple guests. It was a lot of fun.
I love it.
All right.
We have some questions actually.
Yeah, let's have the other questions, and then we'll let.
So they're mostly about Flamebound because they're from the beginning, and I've saved them.
Okay. But how did it answer anything?
You can veto any you need to,
except for all the things we can't say.
Yeah.
Anything else we'll answer.
So someone's asking, is it coming to Kickstarter or just to sales?
So we are bringing it to Kickstarter. We are a crowdfunding based company, so we're going to always have fun with our campaigns, our big, crazy, bloated, splashing, epic campaigns. So yeah, we're doing a big one. I mean, yeah, I love that stuff. I love seeing a game in its process and being able to throw input in, and we had a lot of fun with the first Flamecraft that way. So we definitely want to go back to Kickstarter.
Lots of extra sauce.
Yes, pour it all on.
Are they going to have different names besides Artisan Dragons in Flamebound?
Interesting. The artisans, as we know it, are the ones that work in town, and the classic ones that and they're the ones going on the adventure. So we still call them artisan dragons. There's definitely Graham, the bread dragon, is the one adventuring. So it's an artisan dragon. But who Graham meets along the way, I don't know what we're calling those dragons yet. Manny and Sundara might have a name. We'll be definitely coming up with something for the other dragons they meet.
I know what they are right now. I don't know what they'll be.
Yeah, we're still kind of shaping the who they meet along the way. But definitely artisans are the ones that you're going to get to play. The 7, well, there's artisans and there's fancy dragons. That bard, that's not an artisan, but we forgive the bard for that.
Okay. Is it a legacy game?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think we're going to do something really interesting that's similar to a legacy in some ways, but not ripping cards and not permanently altering the thing. I think we're going to do something that there is ways your game will change, because you're gonna play multiple things, and then there's gonna be unlocks, and I think it's gonna feel like your game's different. In fact, Sandara said something to me. She said, "Oh, so your copy will be different." I think everyone can get to the same stuff if they play it in a different order. So, I don't know how much it's going to be like, oh, my copy is 100% unique, but I think at different times your copy will be different.
We're also trying to keep in mind that we don't want it to be like only these people can play every time.
So one of the biggest pitfalls, there's a lot of pitfalls with legacy games. One of the biggest pitfalls is that if you play like Pandemic Legacy or Charterstone, or you play any one of the legacy games, sometimes you'll feel like I have to have the same 5 people.
Right.
Like if I'm playing with Chris and then he goes out of town, I'm like, I don't want to play another thing with. So what we're trying to do is solve that by hopefully having a game that's flexible. When you put down another, let's play another one. You could bring in someone new, and it's not going to skip a beat. That's what we're trying to do.
Ellie says might be a little close to the Betrayal games, where the path of each game is unique because of the haunt, except played over multiple games.
Yeah, there could be something where there's definitely going to be choices to make, and so in each game there's going to be choices to make, just by nature of it being a board game that you're trying to decide, do I want to do this, do I want to do that? But then the texture of each game will be a little bit different based on your last one. Maybe if you go on one adventure, it might recommend that you go on a certain adventure. And if you go on that one, you might get a different suggestion. So yes, it'll be sort of, if you play multiple games over a night, then you're going to have sort of a connected sense of your adventures. But maybe if you bring it back out, you can start anywhere. You can come back in anywhere.
This is part of the big brainstormy part we're in right now.
Yes, this is part of the how do we deliver the right amount of game, because there's games that do this and go volumes and volumes, and we're trying to find the right balance of what makes a fun set of games for Flamebound.
Yeah, whatever everyone's got in their head right now, probably wrong.
Yeah, I want to clarify. That's a good point. Even things I've said in past streams can be different. This is why we're not coming out with it yet, because we're still fine tuning. And so a lot of people say, oh, it says adventure. Does that mean it's cooperative? It's not. So we're going to choose the right words when we finally come out with the final trailer and everything to hopefully tell people what it's like. Just like Flamecraft, it's competitive, but with actions that make the actions better for the other people. So there's big sort of, I believe Manny had a term for it in his last, he did like an interview with a magazine where I can't remember the term he had, but this competitive cooperative mode that he came up with in Flamecraft. And sort of we're trying to do that same thing in Flamebound.
Competitive game, but it feels like you're all building.
Yes, you're all on the adventure together, but yet you're trying to squeak out the most points.
Yeah, I like there's an element in Hamlet where you're building the church, and everyone builds the church together, but you get points for building parts of the church. So
the parts on,
it's the end of the game when the church is built, because a hamlet is no longer a hamlet if it's got a church in it. So it's really interesting that you're working towards that. But in their expansion, they've decided no one was building the church. So if you run out of flags, it's the end of the game because no one was building the church. So I love that. This question is about the minis. Are you considering using the files to offer STL files for the minis as add-ons? I'd love to try painting them, but only having one copy, I feel too intimidated.
So, like we did on Flamecraft, where you could buy the minis separately, I do believe we'll probably do that again. I can't say for sure, but I would believe that the game would come with, I think the minis would be the deluxe version, just like it was before. And what we did on Flamecraft, if we follow that similar model, it was sometimes you want to buy the standard thing, but you just want to buy the parts you want. So we tend to do that on our campaigns. So that's why I don't think, even though I don't know for sure that I'm speaking too out of turn, because on Andromeda's Edge, you could buy deluxe, but get the wooden moons, or you could buy the deluxe and just get the wash. And on Critter Kitchen was a little bit more like you're either in for deluxe or you're out. But this one might go back to a piecemeal thing where you could get the minis. So we do know a lot of people want to paint them, and you might want another set to have on your shelf. So we'll be looking to do that.
Also got asked, well, it wasn't really a question, but I just wanted to bring up, someone says they're still waiting for the Series 2 models from Game Nerds, tempted to cancel so you can get them elsewhere. We have the Series 2 minis on our US store and our world store, which ships from the UK. So we have the Series 2 minis as well. So
yeah, there is a bit of, we released them first with Lucky Duck, and now I think they are going into distribution. So you might start to see them at your local game store or at Game Nerds. But if anyone is just needs them right now, we still have them at Cardboard Alchemy's web store. So yeah, and those are the ones that Rosie painted, and we showed those. Series 2.
There's an AE question. Are you planning to live stream an AE playthrough with the final production copy?
Yes. We're definitely going to do some AE coverage. So one of the things that's happening is Tim Chewin, who might be coming over today, is going to get his hands on Andromeda's Edge, and he's going to film something. And then I think Rosie will likely have stuff filmed. We've got Mark Dainty's footage coming of the solo. And I think
once he gives me my game back,
he has to actually give you your game back. And I would love to do, here's what I really would love to do, is have like an overhead shot and play against solo myself, or have some, I would love to have some AE playthroughs. I would actually love to get Luke and Maximus again to do something. That'd be neat.
It's going to be a very tall camera to get the full.
Yeah, I know. We have a lot to figure out with that, but we will do playthroughs.
This is going to be you holding a camera the whole time, Chris. Can you do that for 3 hours?
Yeah, I'll just move it around.
We're also going to have unboxings. We're going to have reboxings. We're going to have how to set up for first game night. We're going to have faction strategy tips. We're going to have lots of cool AE videos coming up. So really excited for all
that. We also have, will Rich be making puzzles for Flamebound?
I hope so. Rich also might be coming over for games today. So we'll say, Rich, let's get started on puzzles. He's made puzzles for dwellings, Mission Catastrophe, Flamecraft, Drama's Edge, Critter Kitchen. I would be shocked if he says, "Nah, I'm done. I'm not going to do anymore." But he's a busy guy, so we will work on making sure we confirm that.
Any nods to Andromeda's Edge and Flamebound? I think it's early to say at this point.
that would be an interesting. What we're actually doing is for Flamecraft, we're getting ready for, I don't know if everyone knows this, but in Flamecraft, there's an AE nod. There's a spacecraft. We made a faction in Andromeda's Edge, and that became a shop that if you ordered Andromeda's Edge and you got the all-in, you're getting that. If you got the Flamekeepers faction, you're getting that shop. But it's also going to be a limited amount of them are going to be in our store when Andromeda's Edge comes out. And then we'll also then bundle them with other promos. But that shop is really neat because it lands in town, the dragons get out of the ship, and then it flies away and another shop opens. It's a lot of fun. I don't know that if it, technically speaking, that means Andromeda's Edge and Flamecraft have merged. I mean, there's a ship that's landed.
It's a multiverse.
It's a multiverse, but I don't know that the dragons going on the adventure are going to see any parts of sci-fi. I don't know that that's going to happen. They're going to see some crazy stuff, though. There's going to be caves and different creatures everywhere. It's just going to be a lot of neat things to find. But I don't know if it's going to be space.
Sneak a little picture of Unity on a rune.
Yeah. So it's like one of the runes, they find an elder dragon, and then they're like, "What is that?" Like it's like all the faction logos from Andromeda's Edge scrawled into the rock.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
We've hit an hour.
Yeah. Well, what we can always do, if you have more questions, you can post them on this video. You can ask in our Facebook groups. You can go on Discord. You can play games with us on Discord. And we're around. Actually, we're not going to be around next week because both Rosie and I, speaking of conventions, we're going to go to two different ones.
So I'm going to, it's called Dungeons and Flagons in Manchester.
Can you tell me you named it Dragons and Flagons?
It does sound like Dragons and Flagons. It's a smallish event, and you could book to play Flamecraft with me if you want.
There you go.
That part's free.
I'm going to go to RageCon, where I'm going to get super mad if I don't win the Dwellings of Eldervale tournament. Actually, Luke Glory is running the first ever that I've heard of Dwellings of Eldervale tournament. I can't wait to see that. I'm going to bring the Andromeda's Edge copy with me and be playing stuff at RageCon. So we're going to skip next week, but then we're going to come back on July 5th, and there'll be more of the same behind the scenes stuff, and we'll be further along on all of these projects. I'll tell you more then. So until then, game on, everybody.
Oh, and stick the word lemon in the comments.
Hey, wow. Game night with just lemonade, everybody. All right. Nice. Have a good one.